Hi, today I'm driving the Lexus RX 450h Plus, which is Japanese for a plug-in hybrid. 2 years ago when I reviewed the RX, I said the PHEV is the one to go for. Since then I've tested several of RX's direct competitors and Chinese models started coming into Europe. Has Lexus made any improvements to the RX? Is it still an SUV worth considering? Join me for a second date with the 5th generation Lexus RX. I compared the Lexus RX 450h Plus against the BYD Seal UDMI. Channel members can watch this review early and without ads. The Lexus RX competes with models like the BMW X5, Mercedes-Benz GLE and Volvo XC90 among others. Each is available as a plug-in hybrid, although they differ in size and range. The RX is the smallest of these SUVs. BMW and Mercedes offer larger batteries and longer range, while Volvo is the only one offering a third row of seats in a plug-in hybrid. In this generation of the RX, Lexus doesn't offer a third row at all. The 4th generation was available with an extended body variant called the RXL. So you pay roughly the same for a smaller car with a shorter electric range, less power and performance, not much better than the GLE plug-in hybrid with a 2-liter diesel. But Lexus must be doing something right, because I see quite a few of RXs on the road. True, most of them are the base version 350h hybrids, but there are also some 500h models, the ones that are almost fast. In my opinion, the standard hybrid isn't powerful enough for this big a vehicle, and the top-of-the-line 500h is too expensive. This is where the RX 450h Plus comes in. I'm not loving the choice of color on the press car, but in the sun it looks money. Also, as it's black, I drove it to a friend's funeral. If he was looking at the cemetery parking lot from up above, I'm sure he approved. He was also a car journalist. I drove the RX for a week back-to-back with a BYD Seal UDMI. I realized Lexus is much more expensive, so it's a tough comparison, but when I'm driving it, I know where the money went. Spoiler, it wasn't the infotainment system. The Lexus RX is comfortable. The seats are great. All the sound deadening missing from Toyota has clearly gone to Lexus. The car is effortless to drive. I get the impression that the driver attention monitoring system has been recalibrated since the last time I drove this car, and I can now look around before entering a junction, and I'm not being beeped at because I dared to look left or right instead of looking just straight all the time. There's even a shortcut to disable ESA, the semi-intelligent speed limit assistant. There is now a small icon in the upper right corner of the screen. The only problem is that when Android Auto loads, you don't see it, so you have to exit Android Auto. Still, that's faster than finding the right setting in the menu. Speaking of vehicle settings, I had to reduce the charging power. The RX 450h Plus is equipped with a single-phase 6.6 kilowatt onboard charger, which may be too much for the standard home connection. I have about 15 kilowatts, but it's a 3-phase connection, so I could realistically charge at about 4 or 5 kilowatts on a single phase. The Lexus RX 450h Plus has a battery capacity of around 18 kWh, which allows for a zero emissions range of 69 km. Yes, BMW and Mercedes offer more, but when driving the RX in and around the city, I consider this range sufficient, provided I charge the battery daily. Of course, during the winter, range will decrease to maybe 50 km. Is this enough for you? Only you can answer this question. At what point does carrying extra weight of the batteries on top of the internal combustion engine ceases to make sense to you, and perhaps it's worth considering a fully electric vehicle? Especially since without incentives, a PHEV is unlikely to pay for itself anyway. It's a feel-good solution for people who want to drive a large SUV around town, and a way for car makers to improve their emissions results in Excel. How does it drive? I think the Lexus RX is most comparable to the Volvo XC90. It's engaging enough to keep you interested, but it's not a land yacht like a Mercedes-Benz GLE, and it's also not a BMW X5, which you'll find out as soon as you go quickly through a corner, but most of the time you won't notice. The driver assistance systems are decent. Yes, BMW and Mercedes have better implementation, but compared to earlier Lexus products, these are now okay. The active lane keeping assist detects lane markings where other brands can't see them, and it steers you through the bends confidently but not abruptly as it used to. The adaptive cruise control is, in my opinion, a bit too abrupt, and it slows down a bit too early. If it's going to slow down early, at least it shouldn't be harsh, because I don't want to annoy other drivers. The rear collision mitigation system, which works with cross-traffic alert, is the worst. The system performs its basic function, i.e. it stops you if there is an obstacle in your way, stationary or moving, but once you've stopped, you'd probably like to get going again, and Lexus doesn't allow it. Let me explain. Drive-by-wire is nothing new. The accelerator, the brake pedal, the gear selector, and in some cars with manual transmissions, even the clutch, are no longer physically connected to the component they control. Everything is done via electric impulses. This means that when I approach an obstacle and don't react, the car can brake on its own, and it's great. It helps me to avoid scraping my car when reversing into my driveway, or avoid a collision with another vehicle when I'm trying to back out of a parking space with limited visibility. I don't know about you, but after such sudden braking initiated by the emergency braking system or by myself, I usually want to quickly correct the situation, especially when the back end of my car is sticking out on the road where other vehicles are moving. The problem is that the system cuts off the accelerator and waits until I press the brake pedal hard. Only then I regain control of the vehicle. In an emergency situation, when I want to quickly change direction and escape from a place where I might be partially blocking traffic, those split seconds only add to the stress, and that's when I understand what's happening and know what to do. Now, imagine, for example, someone is experiencing this for the first time, and despite red messages popping up on the dash, they don't quite understand what to do. Similarly, in my opinion, the way you control the multimedia and adaptive cruise control with steering wheel buttons is less than perfect, or rather touchpads, because you just touch them and a message appears on the head-up display and then immediately disappears. I know someone wanted it to be in my field of vision and therefore be safer, but when something flashes and I don't know what it is, I feel a sense of frustration, and that doesn't make me feel safer as a driver. Sure, you can get used to anything, but why make life harder for yourself? The Lexus RX 450h Plus accelerates from 0 to 100 km per hour in 6.5 seconds in hybrid mode and 10.4 seconds in electric mode. If the battery charge allows it, and if you select electric mode, the car won't switch to hybrid mode even with the accelerator pedal to the floor. This is a plus when you don't want to be a slouch driving around town, but you don't want to unnecessarily turn on the combustion engine. After depleting the battery, the RX 450h Plus consumes about 6-7 liters per 100 kilometers on the motorway. Of course, it depends on the distance and the speed you're doing. The PHEV version has a smaller fuel tank than the standard hybrid. It's 55 instead of 65 liters. And now my diagonal approach test. I stop halfway up this incline with two wheels on the diagonal having limited traction, and then I try to get going again. In normal mode, the RX starts without a problem. The same thing happens in off-road mode, although traction control allows for a bit more slip, which could be useful when you need to gain some momentum to get out of a snowbank. Disabling traction control, however, causes the power to escape through the wheels that don't have traction, and the car begins to roll back. If you ever get in a sticky situation in your Lexus RX, which is highly unlikely, use off-road mode. And remember, you probably have road tires which won't be much use in sand or mud. Ground clearance is, according to unofficial information, about 20.5 centimeters. This is the top Omotenashi or Omotenashi trim. The only one to feature a Mark Levinson audio system. It also has better upholstery, more seat adjustment options. Yes, please, do everything. Yes, very nice. I appreciate the physical buttons to save the memory settings and knobs for adjusting cabin temperature. The wireless charger is not powerful enough. Most of the time it'll maintain charge at best. There are good cup holders, a deep storage compartment here under the armrest, and a medium-sized glove box. Auto alarm, or what is it? Oh, right, it's those markings on the windows and all around the car. So if they steal your car, it's marked and it's made in Britain. There's good legroom and headroom in the rear. There's third zone climate control. There are two USB-C ports, an armrest with cup holders, and a ski hatch. Windows feature blinds, although they are manual. There are door pockets. The doors cover the sills. The boot capacity, according to my measurements, is around 500 liters. I explained the intricacies of these measurements in my review 2 years ago. There are two shopping bag hooks, a 12-volt outlet, and buttons to control the second row backrests. There is no room for the cargo cover under the floor, but there is enough space for a charging cable. Prices of the Lexus RX start at €74,100 for the basic 350h hybrid. This test car is the RX 450h Plus plug-in hybrid in top trim. With options, it costs €93,210. Now, I know they are keenly discounted in Poland. How about where you live? Let me know in the comment section below. Yes, I still like the Lexus RX 450h Plus, not to a point where I would like to daily one, but I get why people choose a Lexus instead of other premium brands. And how about you? Are you a Lexus person, or maybe you prefer Audi, BMW, Mercedes or Volvo? Why? Let me know in the comment section below. If you like my sarcastic, down-to-earth and possibly mildly amusing car reviews, join me every Friday at 3 p.m. Central European Time, and don't forget to subscribe and like this video as it helps me with the YouTube algorithm. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.